welcome to Policy and Politics with me, Tarun Nangia. There is a growing chorus and clamor for holding census on caste lines, which is called the caste-based census. We recently saw Tejasvi Yadav, and also there is an inkling that maybe Nitish Kumar is also on board. These leaders and many others want a caste-based census. So there is politics around this issue, but is it in the interest of the nation to have a caste-based census? That is the issue that we are going to discuss today. Will it benefit or will it divide the society if we have a census on caste lines? This is what we're going to discuss today. I have got a very eminent panel with me today on the show. I have with me Gopal Krishna Agarwal. He's spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. I have with me Anurag Bhadoria. He's from the Samajwadi Party. Welcome, Anurag ji. I have with me Gagan Kumar. He's an advocate. He will, in a sense, give us the legal angle. I'd like to welcome all of you on the show. And first, let me start with Gopal Agarwal ji. Gopal ji, what do you think? What do you make of this demand of a caste-based census? Will it strengthen the society, or do you feel that this will divide? Or is there any other opinion that you have?
Tarunji, in your opening remark, you very well summarized that there are two aspects to this whole issue. There is a positive aspect also, and there is a negative aspect also. It depends on how we have to, at the governance level, we have to reconcile them. And therefore, I would like to just mention that considering all factors, it's important for the government to look into the in depth what are the impact and what will be the repercussion, what will be the short-term gains, what will be the long-term gains or problems, etc. So the government is well aware of those things and taking into consideration, but everybody in this domain, even in this show also, I think, but otherwise also I have been reading once you told me that we are going to hold this discussion. I read several of the articles, even earlier ones, and even in the Ambedkar ji has said that we have to work for annihilation of caste. All these issues have to be reconciled into this whole process. Ultimately, what our constitution wants the country to be rise above caste. How it will be done is a question. Various paths are there, but ultimately affirmative action is required on the part of the government. And at the same time, if that affirmative action by the government should not cross the line that it leads into a divisiveness politics into makes divisive politics into play. So this is the issue.
You made, Mr. Agarwal, you made two important points. Dr. Ambedkar speaking about the annihilation of the caste, which means removing caste from the public discourse. And second, whether this measure will strengthen the society. I'll get Mr. Anurag Bhadoria in. Mr. Bhadoria, you served as a minister in the previous government. You have an idea of governance and how it functions. Could you share with us, in your view, is this caste-based census necessary for India?
देखिए, सवाल ये है कि हमारे उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर में या देश के अंदर में आप देखोगे कि सोसाइटी के अंदर में कास्ट में सोसाइटी बटी हुई है, और उसको आप देखो ना, किसी का, आपका, अगर मेरा नाम आपने बोला भदौरिया तो अनुराग भदौरिया है, हमारी एक तरह से आइडेंटिटी है ये। और जबकि आप अपने कोई भी फॉर्म भरते हो तो फॉर्म में लिखा होता है कि आप अपनी कास्ट लिखो, अपना जो आपका धर्म है वो लिखिए, आप अपने नाम के साथ अपनी टाइटल भी लिखिए। तो जब ये चीजें बोली जा रही हैं और हमारे ऑन पेपर में लीगली इसको माना जा रहा है, तो जाहिर सी बात है समाज के अंदर में ये एग्जिस्ट करता है। जब ये एग्जिस्ट करता है तो हमें पता भी चलना चाहिए कि किसकी संख्या कितनी है, और जिसकी जितनी संख्या होगी उसके हिसाब से उसकी भागीदारी होनी चाहिए, उसके हिसाब से उसको न्याय भी मिलना चाहिए। क्योंकि आप देखो कि मंच पे खड़े होकर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेता अपनी वोट मांगने के समय कास्ट तो बताते हैं, लेकिन जब वोट मिल जाता है तो कहते हैं कि हमने कास्ट की, हम इसकी कहते हैं जातीय जनगणना नहीं कराएंगे। क्यों नहीं कराओगे? पता चलना चाहिए ना कौन सी कास्ट के लोग कितने समृद्ध हैं, इकोनॉमिकली कितने स्ट्रांग हैं। हमें पता चल जाए किसकी संख्या कितनी है, तो हमें यह भी पता चल जाएगा कि इकोनॉमिकली उनकी पोजीशन क्या है, उनकी अर्थव्यवस्था कैसी है, समाज के अंदर उनकी आर्थिक स्थिति कैसी है, ये भी हमें पता चल जाएगा। तो ये समाज को आगे ले जाने के लिए, हिंदुस्तान को आगे ले जाने के लिए ये जाति जनगणना बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि इसी से आप हमारे लोग की जो आर्थिक स्थिति है उसका पता लगा पाओगे, और संख्या का पता चल जाएगा। जब उनकी संख्या का पता चलेगा तो आप उनकी आर्थिक रूप से भी मदद कर पाओगे और उनको कैसे अपलिफ्ट करना है ये भी आपको पता चल जाएगा कि कौन सी कास्ट के लोग हैं जो अभी भी नीचे हैं, जिन्हें हमें ऊपर लाना है और उनकी आर्थिक स्थिति ठीक नहीं है, तो आप उनको उसके हिसाब से ऊपर लेके आओगे। तो ये समाज में बहुत जरूरी है। तो मैं चाहता हूं कि सरकार इसको जितनी जल्दी करेगी हमारे हिंदुस्तान के लिए उतना अच्छा होगा, क्योंकि हिंदुस्तान वर्ण व्यवस्था में बटा हुआ है और आप इसको डिनाई नहीं कर सकते। क्या जो भी सरकारें आती हैं वो जानती हैं, अगर तो या तो फिर सरकार ऐसा पहले कानून होता कि किसी का अगर ये वर्ण व्यवस्था नहीं होती और ये अगर जाति की कोई यहाँ पे कोई नीट ना होती तो हमारे सरनेम ना होते। आज हमारी आइडेंटिटी वही है, हम अपनी आइडेंटिटी को कैसे भूल सकते हैं? ये हमारी पहचान है। तो हमारी पहचान बनी रहे इसलिए और हमारी आर्थिक स्थिति का ही पता चले, इसलिए इसकी जाति जनगणना कराना बहुत जरूरी है और सरकार कराएगी। मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, ये सरकार भारतीय जनता पार्टी को आप जानते हो झूठे जुमलेबाज सरकार है। ये जो बोलती है वो करते नहीं। आप देखिए धीरे धीरे तैयार हो रहे हैं कराने के लिए। पहले बोले थे नहीं कराएंगे, आप धीरे धीरे करवाएंगे। क्यों? सत्ता की भूखी है, ये सत्ता के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती है। ये इन्हें सत्ता की लालच है। सत्ता के नाम पे तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी से कुछ भी बुलवा लो, कुछ भी करवा लो।
चलो, I've taken your point before Mr. Gopal Agarwal needs to come in. You can rebut him, then I'll go to Mr. Gagan Kumar.
One thing, I am not going to rebut Mr. Anurag ji. What I want to say only this, that Bharatiya Janata Party or the government has not said that we are not going to do the caste-based census. And it is under consideration, various options, etc. And government is weighing them. So we will not do or do is not at yet finalized by the government. Second thing I just want to say is Bharatiya Janata Party believes in affirmative action. And there are castes which need support, and particularly socially and economically backward castes are there in the society, which need support from the government. And we are for them, and we have taken several steps in that whether it is OBC, giving the constitutional status to the OBC, then now giving the right to the states for defining who will be the part of the OBC in various states. And the third is we have in this cabinet reshuffle given space to 27 ministers, highest number from the OBC community. So affirmative
point well taken, but
10 more seconds.
नहीं, जब आपने कास्ट के हिसाब से मंत्री बनाए हैं, कास्ट के हिसाब से आप उसको बता रहे हो कि कास्ट के हिसाब से हमने मंत्री बनाए हैं, तो फिर कास्ट में जाति जनगणना कराने में दिक्कत क्या है? आप इतनी इंपॉर्टेंट
किसने कह दिया दिक्कत है? हम दिक्कत आपको
मिल जाएगा ना, बैकवर्ड क्लास को, अति बैकवर्ड क्लास को, और जो कमजोर वर्ग है उसको न्याय मिल जाएगा, उनको पता चल जाएगा उनकी संख्या कितनी है। आप उनके नाम पे राजनीति भी करना चाहते हो, लेकिन उनको बताना भी नहीं चाहते कि उनकी संख्या कितनी है। आप पार्लियामेंट में खड़े तो बोलते हो कि हमने बैकवर्ड अति बैकवर्ड मंत्री बनाए हैं, और फिर जब आपसे बोलता नहीं बैकवर्ड कितने, अति बैकवर्ड कितने हैं और यहाँ पे और जो दूसरे लोग कितने हैं, तो आप उसकी जनगणना कराने को तैयार नहीं हो। ये डबल स्टैंडर्ड कैसे आपका समझ नहीं आ रहा है?
We will now allow Mr. Gagan Kumar to speak, because otherwise there will be no break. There will be a point and a rebut. Mr. Gagan Kumar, you are an advocate. You are socially also active. You study social issues. From the legal point of view also, and what say Dr. Ambedkar said, or other leaders of the socialist movement, Karpuri Thakur and other leaders that we have Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. If you take the thoughts of all these leaders, do you think a caste-based census should be done?
Thanks, Tarun. This is a very interesting issue which you have taken up today. We'll have to dig into a little bit of history. And I was going through the book of Dadabhai Naoroji, and I read an interesting fact that in 1835, one of the British scholars noted that 3 million pounds annually were being remitted from India to Britain. 3 million pounds in 1835, or almost 200 years back. And in 1872, that is after the first mutiny, somewhere this exercise of caste-based census started. Now, someone quipped it to Sardar Patel once that Britishers rule and divide and rule. So Sardar Patel responded that no, we divide and they rule. Now, for a moment, let us step back. how does this caste system evolve? If you reflect on it, there are essentially two reasons. One, that it is used as an institution whereby the profession or the skill set gets transferred from one generation to another. And secondly, it acts as a social security system that if something untoward happens, then the entire community is there to take care of you. Now, in the urban area, that second aspect is gone. As far as the first aspect is concerned, we have educational institutions to take care of that. In rural India also, it is speedily losing relevance because the population is migrating from one place to another. So the idea of community supporting you gradually losing the significance. Now, what we really need is the solution. Solution lies in establishing rule of law and taking care of the welfare schemes. That is all. We don't need to keep on wearing our caste on our sleeves, because you see, historically, it has been said by everybody, all the people who were actively participating in the freedom movement, that casteism is the biggest curse which India has. Now, I'll just quote Dr. Ambedkar here. There is a word in the preamble of the Constitution, fraternity. I'll just take 10 seconds to read out what Dr. Ambedkar said on it. He said that fraternity means a sense of common brotherhood of all Indians, of Indians being one people. Castes are anti-national. In the first place, they bring about separation in social life. They are anti-national also because they generate jealousy and antipathy between caste and caste. But we must overcome all these difficulties if we wish to become a nation in reality. For fraternity can be a fact only when there is a nation. Without fraternity, equality and liberty will be no deeper than coats of paints. This is what Dr. Ambedkar said. Now you see where we are digressing, and rightfully so. The founders after the independence never took this exercise because the idea was that this caste-based census will only perpetuate this exercise.
I would want Anurag Bhadoria to rebut it. Mr. Bhadoria, what is your view on this issue that we aim to create a casteless society? We don't want to perpetuate caste in the society where for everything caste is in a sense used.
नहीं बिल्कुल देखिए दिक्कत यह है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी कहती कुछ है करती कुछ है। जब वो देश के प्रधानमंत्री खुद मंच पे खड़े होकर बोलते हैं कि मैं वोट कास्ट आता हूं, तो खुद बता सकते हैं वोट लेने के समय, तो ये दोहरा मापदंड कैसा है ये मैं जानना चाहता हूं। आप एक तरफ कास्ट को बढ़ावा देते हो, कास्ट के नाम पे वोट मांगते हो और आप उसके नाम पे सम्मेलन भी करवा रहे हो। दूसरी तरफ आप कहते हो नहीं हमें कास्ट की सोसाइटी चाहिए, नहीं कास्टलेस सोसाइटी चाहिए। देखिए हिंदुस्तान के अंदर में वर्ण व्यवस्था बहुत पहले से चली आ रही है। हमारी जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि हमारे यहाँ पे जो बैकवर्ड है, अति बैकवर्ड है, जो दलित है, जो पिछड़ा है, उसको हमें आगे लाना है। वो आगे लाके उसको हमें एक जो मेन स्ट्रीम है उसको शामिल करना पड़ेगा। वो तभी हो सकता है जब आपको पता चले कि उनकी संख्या कितनी है, और जब आपको पता चलेगा उनकी संख्या कितनी है तो आपको ये भी पता चलेगा उनकी आर्थिक स्थिति कैसी है। जब आपको दोनों चीज का अंदाजा हो जाएगा तो आप उसकी मदद कर सकते हो, उन्हें ऊपर लाने में आप मदद कर सकते हो, तब वो ऊपर आएंगे। वरना तो क्या होगा, ये बातें जो हम आप डिबेट में करते हैं या हमारे एडवोकेट साहब बोल रहे थे, ये बातें लिखने पढ़ने में तो बहुत अच्छी लगेंगी, बोलने में भी बहुत अच्छी लगेंगी, लेकिन धरातल पे जब गांव में आप जाओगे, जब सोसाइटी के अंदर जाओगे तो ये बहुत रूटेड है। ये इतना आसान नहीं है जितना आसान हम बोल के निकल जाते हैं। ये अभी भी समाज के अंदर में हमारे यहाँ पे सिस्टम आदिकाल से चला आ रहा है। इसको ठीक करने के लिए हमें आर्थिक स्थिति उनकी ठीक करनी पड़ेगी, उनको हमें समाज के मुख्य धारा में लाना पड़ेगा, और मुख्य धारा में तभी आ पाएंगे जब उनकी आर्थिक स्थिति का आपको पता चलेगा। वो बहुत पीछे है अभी, मैंने कहा ना, बैकवर्ड, अति बैकवर्ड, दलित, शोषित, अभी बहुत पीछे है वो। अभी उनको कई लोग तो आप चले जाओ गांव में, तुमको ये भी नहीं पता होगा शहर क्या होता है। तो पहले आप उनको आगे बढ़ाओ, उनको इस स्टेज पे लेके आओ, उनको आपको हमें सुविधाएं देनी पड़ेगी, एक्स्ट्रा बेनिफिट उनको देने पड़ेंगे, तब वो ऊपर आएंगे। जब ऊपर आएंगे तभी वो हमारे साथ दौड़ लगा पाएंगे। तो ये जरूरी है। इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूं कि जाति जनगणना अगर हो जाएगी तो सबकी संख्या पता चल जाएगी, और वो कितने वर्ग कमजोर हैं ये भी पता चल जाएगा, और उनकी आर्थिक स्थिति क्या ये भी पता चल जाएगा। तो आपको उनको ऊपर उठाने में आसानी होगी।
Point taken. I'll go to Mr. Gopal Agarwal. Would you want to put your point and also answer to what Mr. Bhadoria said. Because in the end, BJP-led NDA is the party in power. You will take a decision on this.
Tarunji, one thing I would like to mention here that our party or the government has not said that we are not conducting a caste-based census. We are examining. So to take a position by anybody, including Mr. Bhadoria, that we are not going for caste-based census is wrong at this point of time.
Yes.
I have said specifically, and the government has said, and the party has said at several platforms that government is examining all aspects of this. And you will also agree in your opening remark also, and everybody in the public discourse is saying that there are both aspects to this caste-based census. Second thing is that there are two parts to the Mr. Bhadoria's presentation here. What he said is that there is a need for upliftment of the backward classes. There is a need for certain sections of the society or certain castes which over historically have not got not were included in the growth and the other socio-economic parameters in the main frame of the society. That we are also agreeing. We are also saying that there are several castes, societies, sections, and nobody is denying that. So where is the question of any dispute on that? We are agreeing that there are several castes in the society which are socially and economically backward. They need a hand-holding and an affirmative action. I am specifically using this word from the Constitution, that it is the government is duty-bound from the constitutional provisions, that government has to take an affirmative action to support backward castes, and we are working on that. And that affirmative action includes reservation and other things. And government is we are saying that only caste census will not bring only the affirmative action. There is no question that there is a backward class and there are certain sections of the society which needs handholding. So only caste-based census will bring out that is not there. But I agree with Bhadoria ji that if there is a data, better welfare policies, etc. are framed. So the government has specifically come out with a statement that in 2011, certain survey, etc. were conducted, and government is using those data for designing and implementing welfare schemes. And therefore, you see many of the schemes find at the ground level direct targeted support and results on this direction of affirmative action to bring those societies. And in that class, I said that we have brought OBC Commission, given a constitutional status, given more representation to them in the cabinet. So we are agreeing on most of the part. But the thing is that the census has a negative aspect also. Caste-based census has a negative, that there is a chance with the level of democracy, type of democracy India has, and integrated, the caste-based politics is very integrated into the whole political ecosystem, and there is a chance that it can be used to manipulate as a divisive force, which was there at the time of independence and now also. So that reconciliation is taking place.
Are you suggesting, Mr. Agarwal, that Hindus will be divided post the census? The divisions will...
No, it can divide the society also, because if there is a reservation only based on Tarunji, on the representation, etc., then what will happen to minorities? What will how that will be reconciled? So there are various constitutional issues. Then there is the issue of 50% reservation. Then there is an important point of capping of the reservation of 50% also, which is by the Supreme Court. So these aspects in governance, you need to take a holistic view, just take a political decision and go for it, and that only political consideration, vote bank politics also alone cannot decide the governance.
You made a good point. So I think both Mr. Gagan Kumar and Mr. Gopal Agarwal say that Hindus may get, I mean, that is what they mean, that Hindus will be divided if a caste-based census happens.
No, I'm not saying Tarun ji Hindus. I'm
let
saying
me,
the society, there is a chance that it may lead to a politics where divisive politics will get
Divisive
precedence
politics
over
will rise. Okay.
by certain parties,
Mr.
including
Gagan,
Samajwadi Party.
Okay.
I'll
Mr.
quickly
Gagan,
make one point, Tarun, if you allow me.
yes.
See, the simple point which I would see as a legal person, that if a policy has not worked in the 75 years, that means there is something wrong. And now, if you look at it, that what purpose would be served? Hypothetically, if the caste-based census reveals that numerically the reserved category or the people who are currently covered under reservation, their number have reduced, would any government have the audacity to take a step to reduce reservation? The answer would be no. On the other hand, if the number reveals otherwise, would you want another Mandal Commission happening in the country? The answer again would be no. So my point is that it's been 75 years. Let us move ahead of the caste-based politics. It is my humble request to all the politicians generally that it's high time that we have to look at new India, the prosperous India, which would not happen without.
Good point. One final comment from Mr. Bhadoria before we end. We are almost out of time.
अभी भी अगर आप गांव में जाओगे, रूरल इलाके में जाओगे, तो लोग अभी बहुत बैकवर्ड हैं, बहुत पीछे हैं, और जो बैकवर्ड है, अति बैकवर्ड है, दलित है, शोषित है, उसे ऊपर लाना बहुत जरूरी है। और जब तक ये जाति जनगणना नहीं होगी, आपको नहीं पता चलेगा कि कितनी संख्या किसकी है और उनकी आर्थिक स्थिति कैसी है। दोनों चीज के लिए जानने के लिए आपको उनकी स्थिति को जानना ज्यादा जरूरी होगा। और मेरा मानना है कि जिसकी जितनी संख्या है उसके हिसाब से उसको उतनी भागीदारी मिलनी चाहिए। ये नहीं कि कुछ क्रीमी लेयर आराम से पूरे हिंदुस्तान में मौज कर रही है और जो शोषित है, परेशान है, जो बैकवर्ड है, अति बैकवर्ड है, वो गांव में उसी तरह से पड़े रहे। ये भी तो ठीक नहीं है। ये हमारी आपकी जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि कमजोर वर्ग जो है, जो अभी भी गांव में रह रहा है, उन्हें हमें ऊपर लाना पड़ेगा और उनकी हमें जाति जनगणना करा के उनकी सही पता लगानी पड़ेगी और उनकी अर्थव्यवस्था का भी, उनकी आर्थिक स्थिति का भी हमें पता चल जाएगा। तो इससे समाज को आगे ले जाने में आसानी होगी और हिंदुस्तान को आगे बढ़ाने में आसानी होगी।
ठीक है, point well taken. Let us see what the government now does in its own wisdom on this issue. I would like to thank Mr. Bhadoria, Mr. Gopal Agarwal, Mr. Gagan Kumar for joining me on this show. We will revisit this issue after 3 or 4 months. Till then, I think politics would have moved further, and I think better sense will prevail and a good decision would be taken. But what that decision will be will have to be seen. But that's it for now. Thank you so much. Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.